I wanted to get back to something you mentioned when you hit 10K on TikTok and you said you got a gift collaboration. Can you speak a little bit of what a gift collaboration is and like how you started working like with brands like that?
Yeah, I mean, gifted collaborations are when the brand actually just sends you the products, and the gear is pretty much like over $100. So when I was starting out, I was like, oh, this is something that saves me $100 in my pocket because they're sending me lights or audio gear or stuff like that. So that's what a gifted collaboration is. It's like, it's not that they're expecting you to post on their lights, but it is like, it's a nice gesture that they sent it to you that is so natural, at least for me, to be like, oh, I want to post something about these lights. And that's kind of how they market their own products, through these content creators.
Yeah.
But as I posted one, a few more started coming into my emails, and then a few more. And I was like, okay, cool. This is really fun. Like, I really value these brands. And they also value the content creators, because there is a fine line between like, oh, well, I don't know if your product will serve me any good. So even along the journey as like creating content online, it's having to say no to a lot. And I'm still learning a lot of those as well, because I'm just like, oh no, I think this is really good. Yeah, I mean.
And it's hard because I've been in the same situation, and like it's sick at first, like when you're first starting out, because you're like, oh, it's a $500 light, you know? Yeah. But then at a certain point, you have to think about like how much time that's actually taking you and the amount of value you're bringing. Because like, I'm sure you're at the point where you don't just take gear for free, and you also want payment on top of that.
Right.
When did you, I mean, is that something you do now, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't take gifted collaborations anymore. I think it really highly depends on the product. Then I'll be like, okay, cool, like I'll take it, whatever, because I don't have to buy like a drone or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think now it's also an ongoing conversation. Like, to be honest, at Sony, there was just like a group of us talking and being vulnerable about like, hey, like, what are your guys' experiences with brands? Like, how much you guys charge, blah, blah, blah. Because everybody's different and everybody brings different things to the table. So, yeah, I mean.
It's tricky, yeah.
It is tricky.
It's hard because brands will even, I feel like, some will make like it's part of it, like, oh, we'll trade you a piece of gear for a piece of content,
right?
You know, and that you just have to figure out your value. I think when starting out, if you have no gear and you're just making good videos and good content, like that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to be like, unless if you want to be the gear person, like you also have to find that fine line, because I've taken like, you know, people have sent me like lights and products, and I'm like, one, I either hate this and I'm gonna like destroy your product. Like, it's like, you know, like I thought I'd like it, and I was like, this is horrible. Like, I like my whatever better, you know? I'm sure you've gotten some of those before.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are just collecting dust or in my storage, and I don't even use.
Yeah, so I feel like that's one thing that you get into. Like, Moody Darkroom was on, and he talked about the same thing. That's like when you can start pretty early, like getting those gifted collaborations, like even at like 1,000 subscribers. Like, I think especially if you start, like if you, let's say you bought like, I don't know, like your camera, and you bring some type of like, what is it, like perspective, you know, like you're like, hey, like I got this camera and I really like using it for this, it has this feature, yada yada, and then brands are just going to reach out, or if it's a light. So I think that's a really good way to start as like a content creator, but it can be a vicious cycle, I feel like.
Yeah. And I think that's how I started to, like, aside from small rig, a lot of gimbal companies were reaching out, because I did start with gimbal tutorials. So it really is like, if anybody's starting out and your goal is like, I want lights, then do videos on lights, I think. And then lighting companies will reach out to you. Yeah. But yeah, I think.
And then you get like weird stuff. Do you get like, I get like, I did a video on like these lights, like they're, like I get like massage neck things, that's like all sorts of, I'm like, that has nothing to do with my channel. Like,
right. Yeah.
And
that's
like,
so random.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I'll give you a 5-star review on Amazon, but like, I'm not going to make a video. Like, and that's the thing. They want dedicated videos. Like, I think like when you start knowing your value too, is like, don't do a dedicated video, especially on YouTube, is like, I will put it in a portion of my video. So you make your YouTube video about like, I don't know, like how to set up car rigs, right? And then halfway through the video, if you're like, oh, if you're wondering how I got this like red light behind me, this is the GVM yada yada. And then there's like a minute segment. So do just like use ChatGPT when you're talking to these. That's what I do now.
That's so funny. ChatGPT is like my lifesaver sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when talking to these brands, like I just copy it in and I'm just like, help me respond to this.
Yeah,
like,
same with contracts. So I'm like, can you point out any red flags in the contract?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm actually working on a YouTube video right now about like how I implement AI into this podcast.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so we do a few different things. I've been using like, it's really good at like, I'll feed the whole transcript from Adobe into ChatGPT, and it will create like really nice chapter markers that have like really nice descriptions. So like, because like my editor was just giving me ones that said like Adobe movies filming, and it was like not very useful. And then so it literally like gave me like really nice like chapter markers that were like people can look down right now and be like Lacapture working with brands.
That's dope.
Her Sony trip to Kando. Yeah. So
actually, that's really smart, because I'm over here watching my own YouTube videos. Like, okay, pause. It's at 6:49. Like when I start talking about the gear, like
exactly. I haven't even done it for an actual YouTube video, but it would work as well. And then it obviously can help like brainstorm ideas for like descriptions and captions and things like that. Obviously, I still tweak it and I still go in because like it's not that good, but like it's a good starting point. I feel like that you have to like mold. But
I agree.
Yeah, let's get back to, so you quit your job and then they ended up hiring you and paying you more. You worked with Alicia Keys. What did you work with Alicia Keys on?
It was primarily for her social content. So we were just brainstorming what we could do for social content, especially for her makeup line that she has, or her skincare line. She calls them offerings, which I really love. And just working with her, she's just so genuine, and everything she puts out, especially her offerings, are so intentional. I actually worked with her again last week, so that was dope. Yeah, and it was pretty much the same concept. It's like running around, so they're filming a whole campaign, but I'm working directly with her to film a lot of the social content for a lot of her offerings.
Sick. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so when you were still in the Bay Area and you recently moved to LA, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of went into that decision to making that move, especially with like, doing this full time? So you're still taking gigs on the side, right?
Yeah.
Or is that, So talk a little bit about that decision.
So I moved from the Bay. Like, I love the Bay. Are you from the Bay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I love the Bay. I just think there's so much talent and culture and community. It's so diverse, and it's home. It's always going to be home. And I think that my choice to moving to LA was, one, I like to be uncomfortable because I feel like that's where growth just like happens. And two, there was a lot of things falling in line for me out here. And I was just like, okay, well, I could always try it out. Because again, I could always go back home if I didn't like it. Yeah. But ever since being here, there's just so many things that have been falling into place for me, and confirmations and just back-to-back opportunities. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I made the right decision. Because for a long time, I was like, nah, I'm good off LA. Like, I love the Bay. We can make something out here, stuff like that. But I got to spread my wings and see where it could take me. Because, like, I want to do LA. I want to do New York. I want to just travel and see where I could take my talents and not really be so stagnant in one place. Because when I get bored, so I gotta go. Yeah,
for sure. I actually had a question that I forgot of earlier, because you said you started with like gimbals. What is the best, what's your go-to gimbal? Since you said you've tried out a lot of gimbals, like what's the go-to?
Currently today, I mean, it's the RS4 Pro with DJI. Yeah, I think it's just they've developed it so much better, because I used to have the old one, the DJI, and it was heavy, and it was like, dude, this is too much for me. But the fact that the RS4 Pro auto locks, it's way lighter. Yeah. And it's just easy to carry around. Like, that's probably my go-to right now.
Yeah, I think I have the RS3 Mini. I think I have that one. That one's pretty nice, but the auto lock sounds nice.
I know. I was like, it's such a convenient thing.
Yeah, I've had a couple from Zwin. I think, and they used to be really good, and then some of the recent ones I didn't like so much. So I feel like DJI is kind of like they drop so much stuff. It's insane.
They really do. And I'm excited.
Yeah. But so what's kind of next for you right now out in LA? Like, what kind of are your goals, like with YouTube, Instagram, and like content? Just like working with like brands and like music videos. Like, what's kind of like the goal right now?
I think actually I was telling you just earlier, I was having a conversation with myself because I sat myself down. I was like, dude, I want to do so much stuff. Like not just video work, but like I want to build my business in a way where it thrives on its own. And that way I could focus on my content or my video or my films that I'm working on. But as of right now, going into this year, I was very intentional with like, I want to get more into narrative filmmaking. So my homies and I actually shot a short film called DeVille, which is pretty dope. It's supposed to come out before the end of this year. And then music videos, I started to touch on again. Like those kind of come in and out, but I think because I haven't been intentional with it. But after doing one I recently shot and I'm currently editing right now, like it's a great way to storytell in such a short form.